Well, for more on this now, we cross live to Samkele Maseko for an update. He is standing close to Vincent Magwenya, who's going to be addressing the press at this time. Good afternoon, Samkele.
Versus the comments that Mr. Jonas made when he was a private citizen at the time. And so we believe that members of the Trump administration will be able to differentiate this issue contextually. And we believe that Mr. Jonas will be able to then engage at the appropriate levels with counterparts and other officials in the Trump administration on behalf of the president and on behalf of our government.
It's very clear that this relationship is important, and I've just said now that the Eastern Cape Premier actually reflected that in his opening remarks, talking about a message that he received from the CEO of Mercedes-Benz that he wants to bring to the attention of the president because of how important the automotive sector is for the economy of the Eastern Cape. And where I'm going with this then is, given how it's been clear that the Trump administration doesn't seem to want to hear what is being outlined before them, and on the back of what Mr. Jonas had said, it's clear that he might have a difficult time even opening those doors. Mr. Rasool, in his official capacity, struggled as well.
So let's look at the tariffs in context. One, there is no firm tariff regime that has been imposed by the Trump administration. As we were beginning to compute the impact of these tariffs, there was a 90-day pause, right? And now we are looking at what the current regime during this 90-day pause means. So we should also avoid an element of fear-mongering around these tariffs until such time we have an exact sense of what this tariff regime is going to look like. What do we know? We already know that there are goods that are already exempted from these tariffs. We know that there may be more goods that are exempted, but you know, it's a process. The U.S. government itself seems to be in a process of some sort. Nothing seems to be cast in stone, and it also then depends on how each country engages with the administration. What are we doing? We're in the process of formulating a trade deal proposal that we will table to the Trump administration that we believe will be mutually beneficial to both countries. And in that context, then we'll be able to deal with the tariff issue on a sector basis, on a goods category basis. And so concerns are understood, but until such time we're at a level where the details are clear, we shouldn't be overly concerned and start fear-mongering in a way that will have a negative impact on our markets. It's a fluid situation and things don't seem certain, but we believe that in the immediate future things will be certain, things will settle down, then we'll be able to address the details.
Was proper vetting done on this particular process in the nomination of SABC Jonas as a special envoy, noting these comments he made in 2020? Was vetting done? Was due diligence done by the president, and in particular by state security on this issue?
Samkele, you'll appreciate that when you appoint a special envoy, it's a very different process than when you're appointing an ambassador or a senior official in government. So your vetting will essentially be a very different process. Normally, when heads of state appoint envoys, it's people that they know, it's people that they have a professional and political history with, it's people that on a basic assessment will have immediate suitability to the role. And so your question seems to indicate that you'll apply a similar process as you would when you're appointing an ambassador. No, it's a very different process. And so in this particular case, we will have not been required to conduct an extensive vetting process that you will conduct when you're appointing an ambassador. Mr. Jonas brings into the role a lot of political leadership experience. He served as the Deputy Minister of Finance. He will have interacted at an international level with his counterparts and others on matters of trade, on matters of bilateral economic exchanges, etc. And so he has a good grasp of the issues. He has a good understanding of what our national interests are with respect to the relationship with the United States. And so on those bases, the president was satisfied that he's making an appropriate appointment.
Speaking of relationships, I mean, there are some concerns that have been raised about Mr. Jonas's ties through his role at MTN with, Iran and China, which, as we've seen with the tariff wars, are countries that the U.S. are having a tough time with, to put it quite bluntly. Is that something that the president considered insofar as the reset of the relationship with the U.S. is concerned? Because that alignment might be viewed in a particular way.
Again, Zianda, these are issues that need to be looked at in terms of context and facts. What are the facts? MTN made an investment in Iran Cell. Mr. Jonas does not have ties with Iran as well as its leadership and political establishment. So we need to we need to differentiate these issues. That investment that MTN made in Iran Cell was no different from investments they've made in other parts of the world, where they've partnered with local telecommunications service providers, right? Secondly, MTN, we believe, has dealt with that matter, has interacted with the U.S. authorities, and to date, neither MTN nor Iran Cell are under any sanctions regime. So on the basis of that, you will not then discount Mr. Jonas's appropriateness for this role, considering that neither MTN nor Iran Cell are under any form of sanctions regime by any authority for that matter. And so the president will have looked at that issue and again found that there is nothing that implicates Mr. Jonas directly or personally into any wrongdoing. And again, we followed reports that the Trump administration is in talks with the government of Iran. They are talking. And so we don't see anything wrong with them interacting on matters of stability and peace in the Middle East. Equally, we shouldn't have a case where Mr. Jonas is lumped with perceived wrongdoing by virtue of being chairperson of MTN, when MTN itself has not been found to have been involved in any wrongdoing, or MTN is not under any form of sanctions regime from the United States, even Iran Cell for that matter.
Has the South African government received any note verbal from the United States of America objecting to the nomination of Mr. Jonas as a special envoy to the United States, particularly after his comments? Have you received any communication from them? Are they fighting? Are they receptive?
Not that I'm aware of. I'm not aware of any note verbal that has reached our office in regard to this appointment.
And have you considered...
Essentially, that is Vincent Magwenya, the spokesperson of the presidency, speaking on the president's visit here to the Eastern Cape and speaking on the appointment of Mcebisi Jonas as a special envoy to the United States of America, saying that there's been no note verbal that has been communicated to Pretoria, to DECO, with the United States objecting the nomination of Mcebisi Jonas as a special envoy to the United States of America. The president is very pleased with the appointment of Mcebisi Jonas, and also speaking and saying that they hope the United States of America's government will be receptive to Mcebisi Jonas, and that his personal views back in 2020 would not be held against him when he starts his work in the American country for that special mission that has been sent by President Ramaphosa on political and economic trade relations, fostering them with the United States of America government.
Thanks very much, Samkele Maseko at the Vincent Magwenya presidential spokesperson press briefing a few moments ago.